My girlfriend thinks that my friend is into me except that I get mixed signals. My 20 years old male girlfriend, 20 years old female, and I started dating for a bit over 2 years now. Last summer, I met up with a friend, 20 years old female, of mine that I haven't seen in around 3 years and introduced her to my girlfriend. We were in our home country for the summer, so it was a good opportunity to meet up since we live 5 hours away from each other in normal times. We decided to have lunch then, watch a movie. Everything went well until it was time to drop them off to their homes. My friend was telling me that it's better to drop my girlfriend off first since it would be easier. The thing is, it really didn't matter who I drop off first because they live in opposite directions and we were in the middle of both of the homes. I ended up dropping my friend off first, then my girlfriend. On the way to my girlfriend's home, she told me that it was weird how my friend was insisting on me dropping her first, as if she wants alone time with me. I told her that it's not the case and that I didn't see it as insisting. Fast forward a couple of months later, this friend texts me very often and almost always video calls me before even asking if I'm free. I answer most of the time if I have nothing to do, and we talk about almost everything. One time on video call, she was wearing a thin shirt and her nipples were visible, and the reason I'm mentioning it is because she dresses fairly modestly. Every time have shocked me. After an hour of video call, she lifted the camera so that her chest isn't visible anymore, and my explanation is that she realized that they are visible, hence why it wasn't done purposely. Very recently, she was wearing a sort of sports bra and covered it with a blanket, but I forgot the reason behind it. Nevertheless, she made sure that I knew how the sports bra looked on her before covering. Finally, she talks to me regularly about her crush that lives on another continent and that she sees once every 3-4 months, and nothing happened between them. The fact that she's talking to me about her crush makes me feel like she doesn't have romantic feelings for me. As far as I know, I'm the guy, if not person, she talks to the most. And I never recall any guy that she video chats with on this frequency. I remember when we first became friends, she said she doesn't like to initiate conversations on texts, but when we talk, she initiates the conversations 80% of the time. My girlfriend says that this friend is interested in me, but I can't see it. I don't have feelings for that friend for me to willingly ignore her warnings. I genuinely don't see anything wrong. Do you think she has some feelings towards me? It sounds like your friend is trying to navigate a delicate balance between revealing her crush on you and not wanting to turn you off. It might be a good idea to set boundaries with her to ensure that your relationship with your girlfriend is respected. Her actions seem to be leaning towards the inappropriate side, especially if she starts trying to undermine your relationship. Make sure you and your girlfriend are on the same page in terms of what is appropriate behavior from your friend. Am I the antagonist for not loving my father? I, 15 years old, don't love my father. While he has good moments, most of my memories of him throughout my childhood is of him overreacting to things we did wrong, and him being overly cruel with punishments, such as not letting us have dinner for a messy room, or kicking my sister out of home for having attitude, but then taking her phone off her when she tried to leave. He has an insecurity about his weight, and so he constantly calls us children, fat, and lazy. Aside from this, he says he loves us but is constantly putting us down. Like today, for example, I'd spent all day studying and so didn't get a chance to clean my room like I'd planned. When he opened my door, without knocking, to say goodnight, he told me he was disappointed in me for the way my room looks. That's normal, I think. But after he said that, he told me he was also disappointed in me for the way I look, and then acted as if he was the parent of the year for not yelling at me, despite literally telling me he's disappointed in me for the way I look. For context, I was wearing plain shorts and a t-shirt with no makeup and cut my hair short a few months ago, which he hates. Anyway, this situation got me thinking. I realized I don't love him, and actually preferred when he was away from home in hospital for 2 months because he wasn't there to bully me. Every time I've told people I don't really like my dad, they get mad at me and say, "He's still your father," and because of this, I thought I had to love him. He has some childhood trauma that makes him think he is the best parent ever because he is better than his own parents. But he also has an ego and takes credit for everything I accomplished despite him having no part in it. I know it is his first time on Earth too, but I just can't get over the way he puts me down and ignores any boundaries I set. Nobody would tell me to love my school bullies because they are mean. Nobody would tell me to love somebody who tells me I don't belong somewhere. Nobody would tell me to love somebody who doesn't like that. I am not a girly girl. I might not even be a girl, but that's a separate thing. Nobody would tell me to love somebody that guilt trips me or that doesn't respect boundaries like personal space or not wanting to be on their social media. Nobody would tell me to love somebody who takes credit for my accomplishments. My logic is that he does all those things, so why should I love him? Everybody I say anything similar to this tells me I am too harsh and that he is my father and no parent is perfect. I'm starting to think they are right and that I am cruel for wanting to cut contact in 2 years when I turn 18. So, am I the asshole? Not the antagonist at all. Your relationship with your father is your own, and you are not obligated to love someone who has not acted in a way to deserve it. Emotional and verbal abuse are still abuse, and it's important to prioritize your own mental health and well-being. Don't feel guilty for setting boundaries and taking care of yourself, even if others try to make you feel otherwise. Seeking therapy may help you sort through your feelings and make decisions that are best for you. Good luck. I am considering leaving my husband. So to start, we are going on 12 years together, 7 married. We had a kid when I was 27 and got married 6 months later. Prior to getting married, I was on supplemental security income and had gotten my associate's degree and started working part-time 2 years prior to getting pregnant. My husband at the time received disability as an adult child, which we found out gets taken away when you get married. At the time, I was stressed as I had only started working my main job 2 weeks after giving birth, and then started a second job delivering pizza 6 weeks after giving birth. Losing his income was very hard on me, and I tried to help him get it back over the next couple years unsuccessfully. Eventually, I got an entry-level office job in the field I got my degree in 2 years after giving birth. Also would like to point out that I breastfed my child for 3 years, so this entire time I was doing that, in between working and taking care of the bills and shopping, and whatever have you. I would get unhappy from time to time as my spouse was not keeping the house as straightened up as I would like, and the house never even got properly baby-proofed as he felt it would be enough to watch our kid and redirect him from dangers. My spouse wasn't even at the hospital when I gave birth, as he has a phobia of hospitals and doctor offices. I had tried to set up for video chat while I gave birth, but he chose to watch a Christmas video on Facebook of some woman deep-throating a sausage 3 hours before I popped my kid out. Mind you, I went to the hospital that day at 5:30 a.m. to be induced, so it wasn't a surprise the baby was coming. He came with my mom to take me home from the hospital, but it has never sat well with me how things went there. We were renting at that time, and eventually one time while I was paying rent, our landlord grabbed my hands and started stroking my hair while his face was really red, and started talking about how pretty I was, etc. I never went alone to pay rent after that. We had some friends that my husband played Dungeons and Dragons with, that the one's wife was an exotic dancer, and I ended up picking up a third job doing that to support us eventually, and my husband was okay with it as that meant the bills were getting paid. I felt frustrated about the situation still, but I pushed on. Eventually, once COVID hit, there was the perfect storm, and I was finally able to afford to get us a house. I had told my husband before if he could show me he could keep things straightened up, I would work towards getting us a house. But with the issues with the landlord, that requirement went out the window. Finally got our house, and within the first year there we were up late together inebriated, and he admitted to me that he didn't help get his income back before because he was concerned I was using him for his money. 2 years I tried to get his income back to help me with bills, and he wouldn't help because he thought I was using him. 2 years after buying the house, I was really tired of shit. Constantly working 2-3 jobs to make bills and buy food, the house always being a mess and shit not getting done, because he'd try to pay people with weed to do stuff around the house, and it wouldn't get done or wouldn't get done right. We had arguments in the past how my expectations were too high, and my standards were too. Of course, the past couple years he has now said that I am reasonable for what I want, instead of throwing insults about my white picket fence dream. I am tired of my situation. I've broken down numerous times over the years, sometimes even yelling that I am unhappy, but it seems I get talked into waiting just a little longer because things don't change overnight. When can I give up and find a partner who actually matches me? I don't get supplemental security income anymore. The past 12 years I have gone from living off the system to getting a degree and a career, and am now making $65K per year. Am I in the wrong? Am I really expecting too much? There's so much more to add, but this is already quite lengthy. If your man allows you to have a third job while he has 0, that's bad. But if that third job is a stripper and he doesn't bat an eye, this sounds like you adopted your husband. You know what to do. You are still young and need to literally take the trash out. Once that ends, hopefully, he will learn better or you will straighten your spine and move on to greener pastures. Am I the antagonist for not lending my dad tank? My parents divorced before I turned 3 because mom realized dad was hopeless at his finances and he ruined our family's financial situation back then. Mom is a hardworking woman. She earns enough to support our life as a single mom. Mom always said that dad owed her a lot of child support since I was young. Dad had been paying mom child support till I moved to a different city for university. He then paid me directly around £240 per week to help me pay for my rent. Also at the time I went to university, dad married a lady who brought in a daughter 13 years younger than me. Stepmom does the same occupation as my dad, so they have been working together in the same shop, run by dad, since then. As soon as I graduated, I stopped receiving money from him. Now I am a 30-year-old female, working at an okay average-paying job, and I have a mortgage. I see dad and stepmom a few times a year, but I am never aware of their financial situation because I can see my stepsister using the newest iPhone, and she has had her own MacBook since she just got into high school, so I always thought they were doing okay. I have heard things from mom about dad because he has been asking her to lend him money 2 to 3 times each year over the past few years. Mom was nice enough, so she did lend them the money. For your information, mom is on good terms with stepmom, cause stepmom is a genuinely nice person. I like her too. By the way, she is my second stepmom. The middle one was a lady dog. Story for another time. Recently, mom realized they don't pay her back on time. They only need to pay mom a few hundred per week. Mom lent them around 5K to 10K each time, so mom decided this will be the last time she lends them money. At this point, you may wonder why dad doesn't have money as a man in his mid-60s. Dad spends way too much on food and his hobby of collecting antiques, dreaming of reselling them one day and making a fortune. He can easily spend hundreds on a meal eating out, and he spends thousands buying antiques. In his shop, he even has a display cabinet of the antique items he collected, and their home is filled with all kinds of antique furniture. His obsession with antiques has grown substantially over the past few years, and no one could stop him. Stepmom is also very upset about this situation, but she couldn't do much because dad manages their money. I have told him to stop buying antiques multiple times, but he never listens. Tonight, dad sent me a text asking me to lend him $10K. I'm sure he went to mom first before asking me, so mom must have rejected him. I told mom about this, and she said stepmom told her dad owes £10,000 for their mortgage, 2 months of rent for his shop, and £50,000 credit card debt. I don't believe lending him $10K will solve the problem. I have offered to help him sell his antiques online so he can try to cash out as much as he can. Am I the a-hole for not lending my dad $10K? Not the antagonist. Smart move on not lending dad any money. It's unlikely he will pay you back and could damage your relationship. Dad needs to take responsibility and sell some of his collection. You offered a realistic solution, now it is up to him. Best of luck dealing with an irresponsible parent. I think my wife cheated on a business trip 2 years ago, but what do I do if I don't have evidence? My spouse and I at the time were together 11 years, married 9. And she got the opportunity to better herself in her career, and was able to take trips back and forth across the country with her colleagues to open up a new clinic. I was so proud of her and was excited to see her being fulfilled in her career. We have always been tied at the hip and madly in love with each other, so for 2 months, only seeing her a weekend here or a weekend there was hard. Everything was fine for a few weeks and we talked every night. She would go to the bar in the hotel with her female colleagues until about 11 and then come up to her room to talk to me, still pretty drunk. At some point I started to get unnerved because it seemed like she was not answering my calls or texts more often, but when she finally answered, she FaceTimed me and was with the girls every time. While we were talking on the phone one night, I thought I heard a door close. I questioned her about it and she didn't know what it was. I heard it again like 15 minutes later and she said it must have been the air conditioner. It didn't sound like an air conditioner kicking on. Fast forward to the Friday of that week and I noticed she was wearing a lot more makeup than she ever does at home. Also note this was after she got off work, so she got dolled up early in the morning. That night something told me something wasn't right, so I called and texted a couple times and she finally answered my FaceTime around 9:30 and she was with the girls by the bar. I told her I loved her and hung up. About 11 I called again and no answer, so after working all day, I told her I was going to bed. Remember, she usually calls at 11 still drunk. She didn't call me until 1:30 and woke me up. She said she just needed to hear my voice, and she sounded pretty sober, which was odd. She flew back Saturday and while having an impromptu date, I noticed while we were eating her phone was on a generic iPhone wallpaper. That never happened in the 11 years we were together. She always had a picture of me or us with our son all the time. She said she didn't realize that happened. But you literally have to go through the settings and scroll multiple times to change it. I called BS, but whatever. We get home and after a while start having sex. That's when it all came to a halt. She had a literally baseball-sized bruise on her right butt cheek. I stopped instantly and questioned her about it. She said she saw it that morning and she must have bumped into something while drinking. I was floored and started crying because nothing was lining up to the faithful, loving woman I knew. I got in my truck and left just to clear my head. It could have been what she said, but everything was looking very coincidental. The Monday following, I had to wake up early to bring her to the airport and decided to look at her phone. She literally deleted her whole Facebook history when she never did that before. I questioned her, waking her up and she looking startled and didn't know what to say. She said she didn't remember doing that. Fast forward to when she got back to her hotel after her flight and she said she was peeing blood. She had a UTI and the incubation time for a UTI is around 3 days, which was Friday. I know you can get a UTI from other things other than sex, but it was really suspicious. I have racked my brain for 2 years on this, and it still haunts me because she denies everything and has apparently hid any evidence well. They have a guy that she talked about that she worked with in it that she said a couple times we were so much alike and would get along. We saw him afterwards and when she said hey to him, he kept his head down and kept walking. Fast forward a couple months and I add him on Facebook. He has a family and was recently married. About 3 months ago, I looked and he unfriended me and my wife. So I don't know, it just seems off in my opinion. Sorry for the long post, but I really don't know what to do. I know the ship has probably sailed, but I can't get it out of my mind, and it has eaten away at me. I don't think anything is happening anymore because she is head over heels for me. Oh, and another thing, after I confronted her and she denied everything, she started sending me steamy selfies, which she never did before. This lasted about a year and a half but has recently stopped. Maybe she felt guilty and was sending me those to keep me off her trail. I don't know. So I think I know the answer to what may have happened, but I don't have any evidence other than what I mentioned. I know she loves me and I left it alone, but internally it drives me mad and makes me bend over backwards for her, so she has no reason to look anywhere else. But should I contact the guy and just be like, look bro, I won't tell anyone or your wife or anything. Just tell me for my own sanity. I researched that topic and people advise against doing that, so I don't know what to do. If she confesses to cheating on their trip, you have a decision to make. Just remember that accusing without solid evidence can damage trust. Trust is a delicate thing in relationships, and sometimes it can't be repaired. If the doubts are too much, it may be time to walk away. Aita for kicking my mom out. A little background. My mother and I have always had a strained relationship. She was always emotionally unstable and not a very present parent. It was like walking on eggshells around her for my entire life. She cheated on my father and left us when I was 10. She told us she didn't want to be a mother anymore. She stole my father's savings, and by default, all the money from her children, and left us with nothing. My father had to move us into a tiny apartment and sleep on the couch, so my sister and I could have the bedroom. My mother continued to be slightly present in my life, mostly just asking for money and a place to sleep. When I became an adult, I spent years in therapy working through the trauma of my childhood, but also making sure I never made her same mistakes. I'm now a healthy, happily married adult with small children. My mother eventually had a mental breakdown and was admitted into a psychiatric ward for some time. It seems like her own traumatic childhood caught up to her, and I ended up feeling some empathy for her. We had a surface-level relationship, and she apologized for her mistakes when I was younger. She went to therapy and started to try to make amends. She was diagnosed with breast cancer and was completely alone. While she made her life choices, I couldn't help but feel badly for her. I found out she was being evicted while going through chemotherapy. I lived about 12 hours away, and I invited her to live with us. My guilt got to me. I was very upfront that if at any time it wasn't working out, she had to go. She accepted my offer. Obviously, where else would she have gone? Fast forward to present day. She is cancer-free and healthy. She is living in our guest bedroom. I told her we wouldn't charge her rent, but asked that she get a job and contribute around the house, pick up after herself. She kept a job for a week and has not worked since. She does help around the house and occasionally babysits. She also does clean the kitchen and will step up with any chores we ask of her. I told her that she had to have a job because it didn't feel fair that my husband and I worked so hard, and she was sitting at home enjoying the fruits of our labor. She is still unemployed. We have revisited the job conversation a few times, but it always ends with her saying she will get a job and never does. I am tired of parenting my parent. I don't feel at peace in my home and I feel re-triggered about things that I have worked hard to get through. Our bills are only getting higher, and I'm annoyed by seeing her sitting on my couch while I'm on my way to work. She eats our food, uses our utilities, has free laundry, gets rides from us, she has no car, and enjoys every streaming service while contributing $0 to our household. Am I the a-hole if I kick her out? She has no job, no money, and no car. She will be homeless. Give her a clear deadline to get a job and contribute to bills, and if she doesn't meet it, be prepared to start formal eviction proceedings. You should check your legal obligations in terms of evicting a long-term tenant and make sure to communicate the consequences clearly. It's important to have a direct conversation so she has time to find a job and housing assistance before eviction. In any case, if you handle it legally, you are not the asshole. Thanks for watching. When you subscribe, make sure to hit the bell to turn on notifications so you never miss a video. To finish listening to all the stories, check out the playlist in the description.